Structure Deck Beware of Traptrix releases on February 24th. With brand new tools for consistency and extension, this wave of support pulls Traptrix into the modern era more than any before. Let's break it down. Arachnacampa can summon itself as a quick effect if you control a Traptrix and protects your set cards from their first time being destroyed each turn. Pudika searches Trap Trip Garden on normal, and on special, banishes an opponent's special summon monster and lets them summon one of their banished monsters during the next standby phase. Trap Trip Garden is a field spell that gives you an extra normal of a Traptrix and can banish a monster you control to summon a Traptrix from hand or graveyard. Trap Tantalizing Tune discards an insect, plant, or trap card to draw 2, and can banish itself to return a banished insect, plant, or trap card to the bottom of the deck. Traptrix Holutea is a trap monster you can activate the turn it's set if you discard a normal trap, and can banish itself from graveyard to reborn a Traptrix. Adipus can negate one card your opponent controls for each insect or plant you control once per turn, and can destroy one of the targets by banishing a trap. Pingacula is unaffected not only by traps, but also by any monster with the same type as one of its materials. Can detach a material to search a Traptrix, and if your opponent's card is destroyed or banished, you can attach it to Pingacula. Finally, Terrifying Trap Hole Nightmare can pop a monster your opponent controls as long as they've special summoned a monster during this turn, and if you have a hole in graveyard, you can banish the destroyed monster instead. This support does more than just modernize Traptrix's classic game plan, but make the deck into a more combo-heavy mid-range deck. Garden, Arachnacampa, and Holutea give you more extension than the deck has ever had before, making it easier to take advantage of the various effects of the Traptrix monsters. Garden gives you the ability to resolve Dionea turn 1, reborning a Pudika you linked off for Serra. Arachnacampa is a great search target for Mantis, and Holutea is a whole normal trap card, meaning even Murmello can be a starter. These also are great in concert with Serra, giving you several options to trigger both of her effects on turn 1. Arachnacampa's protection effect can be used to strategically blank your opponent's removal by chaining it to something like Duster or Twin Twisters. Garden's second effect can trade out a rank 4 combo piece or even an Abiru token for at the very least a Serra, and with Pudika there's no challenge finding Garden even as a 1-of. But that's not even all Pudika is useful for, as her special summon effect makes her a perfect target to summon with Serra, turning Serra into an actual interruption that's more impactful than back row removal. Pudika's unique form of temporary banish is a little unusual on the surface, as it can give your opponent the ability to trigger their effects, but it can also trap no-me monsters or monsters that haven't been properly summoned in the banished pile, something that a card like Farfa can't do. And aside from Serra, you can also trigger this effect with Holutea's graveyard effect, giving you more agency over when to trigger it as opposed to being tied to resolving Serra. On a similar note, Holutea being a trap monster gives you more options to make Time Thief Redoer with his trap effect. This incredible web of interactions gives the deck the ability to put up several interruptions from practically any hand. Despite this, the deck still has its share of problems. Removing the normal summon can be difficult to play through even in the best cases. Even if you have Garden to get another normal or something like Holutea, you won't necessarily be able to extend much further since you'll have used up your means of triggering Serra. Drawing extra extenders can fix the issue, but in a deck of mostly 2-card combos, the more extenders you're reliant on drawing, the less likely you are to draw into your backup plan of ending on Serra and some back row. But on that note, there's an even more inherent issue with Traptrix's going second capabilities, given that trap holes are naturally reactive interruptions. Once your opponent establishes a board, trap cards that are designed to stop summons aren't as useful. Terrifying is meant to help by letting you take any summon as an opportunity to remove any monster, but unless you break part of their board, your opponent might not have much incentive to summon anyway. Therefore, your best bet is likely to focus as much of your energy as possible into making Access Code or Zeus, and then setting some holes to deter as much follow-up as possible, but through interruption, this is a difficult task to accomplish. The deck has seen a small bit of success in the OCG, but unfortunately struggles against Tear Lament, a deck that can start summoning long before you ever have a chance to activate traps. Even though we of course had a ban list that gutted Tear, trust me, I know that better than anyone. We know from the OCG that Tear has an uncanny ability to no-sell even the harshest of hits, so we're not out of the woods just yet. One thing the deck has going for it is that it can get away with playing Dimension Shifter, but not as well as Flu or Kashtira can, since it certainly does like having its graveyard resources. In regards to that, Gravekeeper's Inscription could be a better fit, as it can turn off Tear effects while letting you build up cards in your graveyard to pull from, but adding another card that's only good going first is only further tipping the deck towards competitive dice rolling. And even if you do go first, you could easily fold to common board breakers, because even though your extra deck monsters are unaffected by traps, Evenly Matched ignores this due to forcing the opponent to banish rather than banishing the cards itself. So if your opponent evenlies you, well, thank you for flying Lufthansa. That being said, the deck is still quite capable even in its cheapest form, and I mean that because this structure deck has just about everything you need to know. I mean everything you need to build a competitive Traptrix deck. From getting you a playset of all the main and extra deck monsters, giving you plenty of trap holes to choose from, to reprinting several staples that synergize well with the deck, This may be one of the best structure decks ever for players looking to just buy 3 and go. If you have some spare cash for 3 of the Crystal Beast structure deck to pick up a playset of hand traps, with a little redundancy because they did give Traptrix Ash in the slot that the OCG got Maxi, and a couple of quarters to grab yourself a copy of Redoer, you're practically playing the deck at full power. If you want to build up from there, the pure build is just the cost of Prosp away, but other builds worth looking into do exist. Labyrinth combos well, with most trap holes being removal-based normal traps, and can even get more holes into rotation with Lady, which by virtue of being a large protected monster can actually help the deck push for damage and avoid being blown out by board breakers. Some have tried labbing out a Punk Engine as a means of making Diabolantis, which can send Goki Pull to search Murmello. This of course begs the question of whether Traptrix cards can be weaved into existing plant or insect combo piles, to which I'd respond,
Okay.
So let's recap. Great new support that addresses the archetype's shortcomings, perfect reprints to fill out the rest of the list, lots of options of where to take the deck from there, and even some good staple reprints. A+, gold star, no notes. I'm genuinely impressed by Konami's track records with the structure decks recently, with even Crystal Beast ending up surprising me by finding unlikely success as an I Can Search Necro Valley deck. And now they finally checked that last box I've been waiting on by making a structure deck you can truly play with just 3 copies of. Albaz Strike was fine, but the fully constructed deck bore little resemblance to the sealed version. If you're looking to build a Traptrix deck from scratch, or if you're interested in just getting into competitive Yu-Gi-Oh for the first time on a budget, I can't recommend this set enough. Let it be known that I take no responsibility if you lose to the guy at your locals who spent $7,000 on Raid South. Before we go, I'd like to address the fact that my previous video was outdated on release due to the new ban list. You see, this happened because I finished editing the video on Saturday, and the ban list dropped on Monday. In regards to this, I would like to announce that if this happens to me a third time, I'm deleting the channel and never coming back.